morning, everybody. Beautiful Sunday morning. And we're happy that you are at Wedgwood today, that you've chosen to be here. And those of you that are listening later in the afternoon or on Monday, just know we missed you this morning. But it is a beautiful day, and we are all glad to be here. We have a great service planned with Kyle speaking to us, so we look forward to that. And we will begin our service with our announcements. Announcements and upcoming events. Next Sunday is Mother's Day, and we will have a speaker, Jenny James Gunn, who is a transgender woman who is very active in our community. She has been involved in Charlotte Pride and on the board for Charlotte Now. She's actually on the Charlotte Pride board and one of the coordinators for Charlotte Pride's Real Out Film Festival. Very active with LGBT Games, Equality NC, just a very active person. And she will be speaking to us about the feminine in all of us. Mother's Day can be a tough day for some people. So we want to look at how we are all caregivers and that we all have that caregiving side. And we also want to look at societies in the past and perhaps in the future, genderless societies where we recognize that part of all of us. So I think it's going to be a really good service. I'm looking forward to it. And then the next Sunday, Stephanie McPherson will be speaking on our wholesale. Stephanie is also from Charlotte Atheists and Agnostics. She's a certified health coach. And her goal in life is to inspire others to be healthy and happy and thrive in life, to be their best selves. And sometimes folks like we have at Wedgwood, we spend so much time on fighting for justice, fighting for equality, helping other people. We forget to take care of ourselves. And so she's going to talk to us about our whole selves. Our social justice book club, reading, Laughing in the Dark, From Colored Girl to Woman of Color, a book written by Patrice Gaines. And Patrice Gaines herself is leading the book club through the study of her book. And it has just been absolutely phenomenal. Somebody said book club is therapy, and indeed it is. We have all learned a lot and grown. And members and non-members are welcome to join our book club. And this next meeting on the 13th, we meet every 2 weeks on Thursday. Read through page 216. Our Social Justice Committee will meet on May the 11th. Children and Youth Committee will meet in May to be determined. And our Constitution Committee continues to meet regularly. If you are interested in joining our Social Justice Committee or the Children and Youth Committee, just message us at the church and we'll give you the link. That's all it takes. We just want people who are interested in those areas to join us as we try to grow. We have a brand new project that Wedgwood is getting involved in, partnering with First Christian Church on East Boulevard. This is a mobile shower unit. It's about 18 feet long and has 2 bathrooms in it. It is free shower access for the homeless. And they have it at the First Christian Church every Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They are in need of people just to be there with a smiling face. You don't clean showers. It's basically no contact. Wear a mask. You just welcome people because you got a mask on. I said smiling faces. But you welcome people. You can show them that they're welcome and point them to the towels, point them to the shampoos, make sure that they have what they need. You can sign up for a 10 to 12 shift or a 12 to 2 shift, or if you want to do a whole time, 10 to 2. But they do need help. The sign up link was in our newsletter this week, and it is posted on our Facebook page. And if you don't have access to either one of those, again, just email the church and we'll get it to you. But I think this is just a great cause to be involved in. We're also still involved with Queen City Assisted Living, adopting residents there who have very little or no support to be a friend. So if you're interested in doing that, contact Travis, who is a Wedgwood member, at this email address, and he'll give you more information. Yesterday was PB&J Sandwich Day. We were working with or helping the Charlotte Atheists and Agnostics with their monthly distribution to the homeless. And the next event will be June 6th. There's more information in the newsletter as well as on our Facebook page. Just contact us if you need more information on that. Thank goodness the House bill about preventing transgender youth from playing sports has been pulled. It is no longer active. But we still have 2 more bills that are aimed at our transgender youth. You can go online, Google them, look them up and see what they are, but we need to contact our legislators asking them to pull these 2 bills, that we don't want these attacks on our transgender community. This is also in our newsletter, and there is more information on Facebook, but please reach out. Senate Bill 514 and 515. On May 24th at 6 p.m., there will be a rally in front of the Mecklenburg Government Center to protect Charlotteans now, our LGBTQ community, to get an ordinance passed for protection, for their protection. An ordinance has been passed in Asheville and Greensboro, many cities across the state, and Charlotte needs to get on the ball. We get a lot of good talk and they say a lot of good things, but we're not seeing the action. So if you can attend this rally on May 24th, we would love to have someone from Wedgwood to speak. That would be just absolutely awesome, and I can tell you how to sign up to speak if you would like to speak. Speaking will be virtual. It will not be in person. You would be like on Zoom to speak, but the rally is in person to show up. Email us for more information. I've got all the information on that. And Liz, tell us about summer camp.
Yeah, so we are so excited to share. So we are a part of the Mecklenburg Ministries interfaith network, and they do a summer camp called In Our Own Backyard. And it's an interfaith summer camp, and it's in person this year, but they will be following very strict COVID protocols. And this is for teens. I believe it's high school teens. And they'll be doing some service projects. They will be visiting different houses of faith, doing a lot of different stuff. And there are scholarships available. It's $250 per camper, but there are scholarships and funding available. They already had the interest sessions on Zoom. However, if you want to find out more information, the application is down at the bottom, which has information on it. Or I know it's kind of tricky to see. You can always contact LaDane Pulaski. She's the executive director of MECMIN. And if you want her information, because I realize it's kind of hard to see on the flyer, let me know and I can send that information to you. It's also in the newsletter. It's slightly more readily visible, but this is just a great opportunity. It's interfaith. It's an opportunity for young people to get outside during the summer and, not be stuck on Zoom, not be stuck in the house. And it's going to be a really wonderful event. So we encourage folks to attend if possible.
And I believe it's on Facebook too, isn't it?
Yes, the advertisement for this is on Facebook, the MECMIN Facebook page. It's also on their Instagram. And I believe I posted it in our Facebook group, but I'll post it again.
Okay. And you can always email the church. Liz or I will get back to you. And would you like to talk about the food pantry?
Yes. So our hours are now from 5:30 to 7. We've expanded them for the summer, and it'll stay these hours until further notice. We are always in need of dried pasta and sauce, PB&J, canned fruits, canned vegetables, tuna, chicken, canned soup and ramen, rice and beans, menstrual hygiene products, diapers and wipes, pet food. And we also accept other things that are kind of on the nice to have, but they're more luxury. Sometimes we'll get donations of like flour and sugar and oil and spices and things people really need to cook with, but are hard pressed to find maybe at a pantry or more expensive. So please consider donating. Also, if you want to write a check to donate to the food pantry, please make sure to indicate it that it's specifically for the food pantry. Make it out to Wedgwood Church, and then in the for item, say for the food pantry, so that we know where it's supposed to go. And you can also donate over Venmo and just put in the subject matter food pantry. We also accept donations that way. But every little thing helps. Every little thing helps, because we're still seeing a very significant need.
And church giving, we need and appreciate your regular financial support. I know some people think when you're on Zoom, you don't have bills to pay, but we do have bills to pay. Zoom has to be paid for one thing. So you can mail your offerings to Wedgwood Church at this address. You can give by text. It's very simple. Just text that number. The first time it'll ask you for a little additional information, and then you're all set to go. You just enter the amount with or without a dollar sign, and we will receive it. And then, as Liz mentioned, you can Venmo us at Wedgwood Church.
We're working on PayPal. We're getting that set up.
Awesome. This is our contact information. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us in any time when you have a need, or you know someone has a need, or you have a suggestion, or you have an idea or a service project we need to get involved in, because our common ground is our belief in justice and equality. That's where we find our common ground. So please share things with us as you learn about them. And we always like compliments too. So don't hesitate to reach out to us at any time for anything. Are there any other announcements?
I have one. It's a save the date. So the first Saturday in June, we are going to have a yard sale in the Wedgwood parking lot, a socially distanced yard sale. And all the proceeds from that yard sale are going to benefit the Wedgwood Food Pantry. So more information is forthcoming, but save the date. And then as we get more information, we'll share about how to give your donations, where to store them, how to volunteer if you want to volunteer, all that stuff. So save the date, June 5th. It'll be in the morning, probably starting 8-9 o'clock.
Any other announcements from anybody? Atheist Agnostic Group, have anything, Kyle, you need to announce? Or?
I guess one thing worth mentioning is our next Atheists Helping the Homeless giveaway, except it sounds like it's going to conflict with Wedgwood Yard Sale, because it's the first Saturday of every month. So, but yeah, if anybody was not planning on attending the yard sale, you're more than welcome to join us. It's also in the morning, so you can drop me a line later and get more details about it.
And we will still get the sandwiches to you. No worries on that.
Okay, yeah. Great.
We can multitask at Wedgwood.
Okay.
Any other announcements? All right, then we will go to our prelude today as we talk about respect and kindness towards all people. Our prelude is how you treat people is who you are. Thank you. Today we focus on kindness and respect. As we often say, we have freedom of religion in this country, but that also means freedom from religion. Wedgwood is a place where everyone is welcome, regardless of what you believe or what you don't believe. And today we're going to talk about the persecution of atheists. We often hear about the persecution of other religions, of Muslims, of different groups. But today, we often don't think about how atheists were treated in this country. And so Kyle is going to share that with us as he shares part of his personal story. And Donna will now lead us in our extravagant welcome to all.
We are all welcome here. Welcome to a church that works for peace, justice, equality, and the care of Mother Earth. An extravagant welcome to you because of your gender identification, sexual orientation, ethnicity, economic situation, physical and mental challenges, doubting or believing being depressed, or full of joy. We are a community of curious and creative spiritual seekers, striving to learn and embody the way of Jesus and other spiritual leaders. Like Jesus, we focus on the plundered and the marginalized as we try to address the major issues of our day. One of the ways we seek to heal the world and ourselves is through sharing parts of our personal story. We are all welcome here.
We are all welcome here. And now we'll go to our children's moment. Liz.
I always forget.
All right, so we'll give folks a minute to collect any young children they have and any old children at heart.
We're all children here today.
Yes.
Okay.
Gavin.
Hey,
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Gavin.
Said they wanted to see you.
All right. So I am so curious to know what you believe about what is the best food.
Hot food.
Hot food?
Yeah.
What kind of hot food?
Hot dogs?
Yeah.
Hot dogs?
Yeah.
That's a good choice. What about other people? What is the best food?
Chicken and rice.
Ooh.
Pork barbecue.
And Thomas makes great pork barbecue. Don't let him fool you.
Mhm. Yeah.
Homemade
And I
French
like
fries.
Chinese food. I love Chinese food. Oh,
Oh,
Chicken
French
salad.
fries and Chinese food.
Homemade French fries.
Yum.
What else?
I had some spicy Korean food last night.
Oh, yum.
Ve-
Kimchi?
vegetables.
Oh, he said vegetables.
Vegetables.
Good for you.
Oh, wow.
Broccoli.
Ooh, I love broccoli. Kale?
Cocktail.
Ooh, yum.
Fish.
Fish.
Fish?
Yeah, you like fish.
How about pizza? Can't go wrong with pizza.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Pizza.
Yeah,
You know what I like on my pizza? I like anchovies. What do you like on your pizza, Gavin?
Pepperoni.
Pepperoni. That's a good choice.
Yes.
So I think that's so awesome that we all have a diversity of beliefs about food. And so I'm wondering, so we've talked about what we each think is the best food. Let's think of one word that describes your best food.
How do you describe your best food? Like,
Is it sweet? Is it crunchy? Is it healthy? Is it spicy?
Oh,
What's the
sweet.
word that describes it? Sweet?
sweet?
Sweet.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm. What are some other words that describe other folks' best foods?
Spicy.
Spicy?
Crispy.
No.
Crispy?
Other people talking. Other people talking.
Crunchy.
Fried chicken or crispy fried okra.
Crunchy? Crispy?
Spicy.
Spicy?
Yummy.
Spicy.
Yummy? Wow, so many different words, different qualities of food that you believe are the best foods. Now, I believe that for many of us, perhaps even most of us, that the food that we believe is the best today maybe wasn't the best food that we thought was in the world when we were younger. And maybe even a couple years from now, we might think a different food is the best food. So we don't always believe that the best food today is going to be the same best food of the rest of our lives. It's very possible that for that best food to get knocked from its throne and replaced by a different food, a new best food, right? So we as Wedgwoodians really value the freedom each of us has to believe not just about the foods that we like, you know, the best foods, but about bigger things like, why are we here? What's the meaning of our lives? What's most important and the most valuable to me? How can I be most true to the purpose I see for my life in this world? We affirm the freedom to believe that we choose what we choose about these things. And we also have the responsibility to work out those beliefs with thought and care. We believe what our hearts and minds tell us is right. And thank goodness we don't have to do this all on our own. No, we are so fortunate to have each other to help us try out our beliefs. It's like we can offer one another tastes of ideas that feel true to us. And it's like together we can each bring our best food, kind of like to a shared potluck. It's almost like every Sunday is a spiritual potluck where we can try different things and hear different messages and try different kinds of spiritual food. We each bring our treasured beliefs to share with each other and here at our congregation. We can put several on our plate, first ones that we're confident that we like, and then maybe go back for seconds or for a chance to try some things that our friends recommended that's really, really yummy. And sometimes new yummy tastes will become our favorite. So everyone, as you go forth today, I encourage you to share with each other what you believe is the best food. And perhaps even more fun, what you believe is the worst food. Thank you.
Good
Thank you very, very much. At Wedgwood, we have a time that is celebrations, prayers, meditations, remembrances, self-reflection. We use those terms interchangeably depending on what your beliefs may be. If you believe in prayer, you can use this as a prayer time. If you do not believe in prayer, use it as self-reflection or just to think or remember things. It's whatever your set of beliefs are as to how you use this time. So we want to hear your celebrations, any remembrances you have, or any concerns you have before we have our silent time.
I go for my second shot tomorrow, so I hope everybody will pray for me for that.
We'll check in on you.
Thank you.
I'm celebrating the my grandson's
Yes,
graduation next week at Howard University.
yeah.
And I'm also celebrating my great nephew's. He is recovering. He's still in ICU, but he is much, much better. He's off of dialysis. He's off the vent. He's a 29-year-old young man. Just he has a lot to give. So God has not finished with him yet. And my great niece, it's amazing. They're both, one is in Delaware, one is in Maryland, went into ICU with the same issues. And she is holding her own. So it's funny, the storm never lasts in the family. We've lost probably about 9 or 10 family members in the last year. And, but there's also, I kept saying, because I'm the matriarch, I cannot believe that in my family. So I kept saying there are storms that we're going through, but the sun will shine. So the sun is shining. Its head is peering, and so I'm really hopeful. So thank you for your prayers and concerns, and we're going to celebrate my grandson.
That is so awesome for the whole family. Just congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
Enjoy the
Awesome.
celebration. We had a number of requests mentioned in our newsletter this week. I hope you saw those. Minnie Ruth has shingles. Connie's family was mentioned. We had a visitor last Sunday that mentioned her daughter-in-law, Andrea Stanford, going through chemotherapy. Pam, who two of our members took to the women's homeless shelter a week ago to get some help. We mentioned the citizens of Elizabeth City, and we mentioned the people in our larger community and in our community who are out protesting and putting themselves on the line for justice and equality. Just hold them in your heart, hold them in your thoughts. Send some healing thoughts to them and think about them as you go through your week this week. Is all we're asking. Are there any others? Well, CMPD is having what they call 30 for 30. And they reached out to various interfaith groups asking for us to remember the CMPD department. The chaplains have reached out, and I'm just going to read to you what they've asked for. They asked to participate in this program, which involves 30 congregations for 30 days. Wedgwood is assigned this day, May the 2nd, for us to focus our thoughts on the CMPD. Remember the members of the CMPD, their safety and integrity, physical and mental health, and that they have the wisdom to guide and make decisions of compassion and empathy as they serve our community. Other public health and safety officials and their strength and perseverance and wisdom to guide their decisions as they serve the community. That our community, all people, whether Black or brown, male or female, police officer or protester, gay or straight, Christian or Muslim or atheist, be recognized as human beings. Our community, as we look more deeply in the causes of our unrest, our homelessness, and our injustices that have been exposed by the pandemic, and that we can all work together better going forward in loving kindness in tangible ways that will truly make a difference. And I know we all have our personal feelings about the police at this time, but I said we would participate in this, and we've all got to come together. We've all got to come together. So keep that in your thoughts this week. Any others? All right, we'll go to our silent time. Use it for self-reflection. Use it as remembrance. Use it however you choose. Just a few moments of silence. Amen. And it is my privilege to turn the service over to Kyle. I'm not going to introduce you. Everybody knows you. You are a friend of Wedgwood, whether you want to be or not. We love having you come to speak to us. So we are eager to hear Kyle, who is with the Charlotte Atheists and Agnostic Society. Are y'all a society? Yes. Okay.
Charlotte Atheists and Agnostics, yes.
Okay, I was adding society to make you sound a little more, you know.
I like that. It sounds fancy.
But we are thrilled to have you here this morning to enlighten us in many ways. Thank you. So it's all yours.
Well, great. Thank you for the introduction. And thank you to Melba and to everyone else for having me back. It was great being here a few months ago to talk about secular morality. And as Melba said, today I'm here to talk about discrimination against atheists. So yeah, first of all, thanks for having me back. I was thrilled to be welcomed back. I also want to take a moment to thank Wedgwood for contributing sandwiches these past couple months to our Atheists Helping the Homeless giveaways. That's been great. Also, a quick shout out to my folks, Dave and Linda, who are joining us this morning. I appreciate the support. So thanks for that. So diving in, let me see. Okay, so as Melba said, I'm part of the leadership of Charlotte Atheists and Agnostics. I'm the development officer, and yes, I'm the development officer, which means I'm in charge of volunteer opportunities and community outreach. Okay, so yes, first to talk about just definitions in general. So discrimination is the treatment or consideration of a person or thing based on the group, class, or category to which that person or thing belongs, rather than on individual merit. And under the Civil Rights Act of 1964, so even though atheism is by definition the lack of religion, is protected under the Civil Rights Act prohibition on the discrimination based on religion, or at least it's supposed to be. But as I'm sure you all know, that isn't always appropriately enforced. So also I wanted to talk about just what atheism and agnosticism are. So an atheist is anyone who is not a theist. So a theist accepts a claim of God or gods, and an atheist is just someone who does not accept those claims. So some atheists, like myself, don't accept those claims, neither do they reject those claims. So I would not say that I believe that there is no God. I simply do not accept those claims. Now, a lot of people, I tell them that, and they say, well, doesn't that make you agnostic? But Gnosticism and agnosticism, that answers a different question than theism and atheism. So theism addresses the question of your beliefs, where Gnosticism or agnosticism regards your certainty of those beliefs. So if you're certain of your theistic or atheistic beliefs, then you're Gnostic. If you're not certain of those beliefs, then you're agnostic. So I personally am an agnostic atheist. So I don't accept any God claims, but I don't claim any certainty of that. So some statistics. As you probably won't be surprised to learn, atheism is on the rise. So the Pew Research Center did a study of trends from 2009 to 2019, and the percentage of Americans who self-report as Christians dropped from 77% to 65%, whereas people who said they're religiously unaffiliated has risen from 17% to 26%. So the religiously unaffiliated is now about a quarter of the country, yet a lot of people are still afraid to identify as such. I'm sure you won't be surprised to hear that as atheism is on the rise, there's a big difference in atheism by age group, or a strong correlation between age and non-belief. So of people born around 1920, only 5% of them say that they're religiously unaffiliated, whereas younger millennials, so born in 1990, about a third of them say that they're religiously unaffiliated. So again, I'm sure that's not a surprise. So the nationally representative 2008 American Religious Identification Survey found that 41% of self-identified atheists reported experiencing discrimination in the last 5 years. And so this statistic is a little older, but a 2004 poll indicates that 51% of Americans believe that it is necessary to believe in God in order to be moral and have good values. So given that about half of Americans feel that way, it's no wonder that atheists are afraid to be outwardly non-believers. So a poll by The Legal Times, this was back in 2006, people were asked, do you have an unfavorable view of certain groups? And when asked about atheists, half of respondents said that they do have an unfavorable view of atheists. About a third felt that way about Muslims, and a sixth said they feel that way about evangelical Christians. Those same people were asked, would you vote for somebody who fell into one of these categories if they were otherwise a highly qualified candidate, and only half said that they would vote for a highly qualified atheist. Again, second in order was Muslims. A third of people said that they would not vote for a well-qualified Muslim. And although this statistic is a little older, so back in 1999, over a third of people said that they would not vote for a well-qualified homosexual. So hopefully all these numbers have decreased in the last 15, 20 years. But there is also a strong correlation between the religiousness of your community and the stigma that you face within it. So people who live in like Mississippi and Utah were about twice as likely to feel stigmatized because of their religion than the least religious states like Connecticut and Massachusetts. And sources of discrimination. Let's see, first of all, I should say a lot of these came from the Secular Survey, which was done in 2019. About 34,000 people were surveyed in the Secular Survey. They said that participants faced a high level of family rejection as a result of their non-religious identity. Among participants under age 25, 22% reported that their parents are not aware of their non-religious beliefs. For those whose parents are aware of their non-religious identities, nearly 1/3 have parents that are unsupportive of their beliefs. And this was heartbreaking. Participants with unsupportive parents had a 71% higher rate of depression than those with supportive parents. So we see that stigma definitely takes its toll on those young people. So this slide here, we found that non-religious people routinely face discrimination and stigma because of their non-religious identity. Nearly 1/3 of participants had negative experiences in education, and 1 in 5 had negative experiences at work because of their non-religious identities. And we can see that, of course, there's strong correlation between how religious the community is and how strong the discrimination is. So in very religious communities, the percent of non-believers who felt discrimination is over 40%, whereas not at all religious communities is about 17%. Nearly half, so 47% of survey participants have felt pressure to pretend that they are religious. And I'll admit, I do fall into that category. I used to live in South Carolina, worked for an insurance company there. And if ever I was in a setting where we were asked to bow our heads, not just in a moment of meditation like Wedgwood does, but for a moment of prayer, I would go along with it. At work certainly it wasn't an appropriate place for them to pray, but I also felt it wasn't an appropriate place for me to speak up or protest. And I'm sure we've all heard funny stories of laws that are still on the books that aren't enforced anymore, but in the North Carolina state constitution, under disqualifications for office, the first one listed is the following persons shall be disqualified for office. First, any person who shall deny the being of Almighty God. And so that sounds like it applies not just to atheists, but possibly any non-Christian. This was interesting, the perception of non-Christians at schools. First of all, as I was researching discrimination against atheists, a lot of the stories had to do with public schools. But the study that was done, the Washington Post published it just last year. We sent emails to a sample of more than 45,000 public school principals divided evenly across the country. The emails were sent by a fictional family interested in sending their children to the principal's school and asked principals for a meeting. We randomly assigned the family a religious affiliation. We did that by embedding a quote at the bottom of most of the emails and the signature line that read, blank teaches that life is precious and beautiful. We should live our lives to the fullest to the end of our days. We signaled the family's religious views by including either Christianity, Catholicism, Islam, or atheism in the quote, with a quote attributed to either the Reverend Billy Graham, Pope Benedict, the Prophet Muhammad, or Richard Dawkins. For comparison purposes, as a control group, some emails included no quote or reference to religion at all. So the people who referenced Christianity or Catholicism, their rate of response was the same as those which referenced no religion at all. Muslim families were much less likely to receive a reply. They were 4.6% less likely to receive a reply than those that didn't mention any religion. And atheists did just slightly worse. They were 4.7% less likely to receive a reply. And this was interesting too. The Muslim families who specifically asked for a compatible school or for a school that would accommodate their beliefs, they were 8 percentage points less likely to receive a reply than those that didn't mention religion at all. So while it's not clear why principals didn't respond, the message sent was pretty clear that that principals were not as excited about Muslim families or atheist families being part of their school. So I came across lots of stories about discrimination in public schools against non-believers. So I had to narrow it down to just a few. So I'll talk about these 4. Gage Pulliam in Oklahoma in 2013, a 10 Commandments plaque was hanging on the wall of his biology classroom. Gage took a picture of it and sent it to the Freedom from Religion Foundation, who demanded the plaque be removed. He was excited that it was, but students started speculating who had done it, and some of his friends were wrongly accused of having done it and started taking heat for it. So Gage admitted it was him. In the weeks following, his mother said she worried for his safety. He and his girlfriend were both threatened, and even his sister was unable to complete a group project because her classmates refused to work with her. The school did nothing to help. Jessica Alquist in Rhode Island in 2012, there was a prayer hung on the wall of a high school auditorium. Jessica sued, and a federal judge had it removed. School board meetings were flooded with people demanding an appeal. Jessica faced threats and had to be escorted to school by police. State Representative Peter Palumbo, called on a popular talk radio show, referred to Jessica as an evil little thing. The Freedom from Religion Foundation tried to send Jessica flowers out of support, but 3 separate florists refused to do so. Next is Damon Fowler. In Louisiana in 2011, Damon learned that his high school graduation would include a prayer. He looked up Louisiana law to confirm that it was illegal and contacted his school to say so. The school didn't respond to him, but instead made his complaint public. Many members of the community, including his own parents, attended a protest at a church. He didn't attend graduation rehearsal because of threats. He only attended the graduation ceremony itself because of increased security. The school was going to put him in the back of the line at graduation, but thanks to the Freedom from Religion Foundation, he was put back in his rightful spot. As he walked across the stage, somebody yelled, "Jesus still loves you." When he returned home, he saw his parents had put his belongings out in the yard. So he moved to Dallas to live with his sister. And Sydney Fisk in Colorado in 2017, a former student accused a public high school in Colorado of lowering her grades and undermining her college plans because she is an atheist. Despite maintaining a 4.1 GPA her senior year, the complaint said that Fisk was not recommended for membership in the National Honor Society, and her scholarship applications were not forwarded with positive recommendations. 2 colleges denied her admission because of negative feedback from school officials. Fisk suffered anxiety attacks that required hospitalization and received death threats following her public opposition to a function where Bibles were passed out to students. So again, that I could go on much longer about instances of at public schools, but had to narrow it down to just a few. Discrimination against atheists isn't limited to just public schools, though. There was a firefighter in Bowling Green, Kentucky, just last year. Well, Jeffrey Queen worked with the Bowling Green, Kentucky Fire Department from 2011 to 2016. Queen, who identifies as an atheist, sued the city and his supervisor in 2016, alleging that other firefighters disparaged his religious beliefs, forced him to participate in Bible studies with them, and told him to join a church. He also claimed to have received threats from 2 other firefighters who threatened to burn down his house after acknowledging his atheism, and he witnessed a now retired firefighter burn a copy of the Quran outside a fire station in 2015. His complaint also said the colleagues made racist, sexist, and homophobic remarks and subjected him to anti-gay slurs. When he reported this to his supervisor in 2012, the captain replied that Queen would need to work somewhere else. Another instance of discrimination in the workplace. This was just earlier this year at a Panera in Pittsburgh. This was not an atheist, but rather a pagan. So Tammy McCoy was taking a break with the assistant general manager and another employee. They were just talking about random things, but religion came up. The manager asked them what religion they are, and when Tammy replied, "I'm pagan," the manager made a face and said, "You're going to hell." 3 days later, Tammy asked the manager when the next week's schedule would be posted, and she was told, "Your hours are being cut until you find God." Over the next few weeks, the environment became more hostile. She complained to the district manager, who told her they were just joking. Tammy asked for a transfer. The district manager told her no and said, "We're probably going to get rid of you anyways." She called human resources at corporate, left several messages, never hearing back, and her manager later mockingly asked her, "How are those phone calls going?" signaling that she knew about the calls and had told HR not to reply. The next month, the manager told her to put in her month's notice. When Tammy asked what she did wrong, the manager replied, "I don't like you." She's currently suing Panera. I'm sure you all heard about the Supreme Court ruling just last year, where the Supreme Court said that Wednesday that religious schools have sweeping authority to hire and fire their educators. So this was an interesting one. In fact, I wasn't sure if I was going to include it in this discussion or not, just because it was touted as a First Amendment issue on both sides of the issue. Because some were saying that a Christian school should have the right to discriminate based on religion, and the court ended up finding that way. It found against 2 fired teachers in 2 different cases. There is a ministerial exception to the Civil Rights Act saying that, for instance, a church can in fact hire only Christians, but the court decided that the ministerial exception applied to anyone who can teach faith to students. And yeah, last year they decided that that would include even, say, math teachers at a Catholic school. So the Supreme Court didn't take a position on whether or not the alleged discrimination had actually occurred. Their ruling is essentially that even if discrimination, which would be illegal in any other work setting, actually occurred, it was none of the court's business. So apparently any religious organization is in fact allowed to discriminate against non-believers. I reached out to my friends at Charlotte Atheists and Agnostics for their personal stories, and I got a flood of stories. Sarah says, "My daughter got bullied so hard in kindergarten for not going to church that her teacher had to send out a communication letting people know religion couldn't be talked about at school. She got a reputation for being a crybaby and was picked on up until this year when I moved her to a different school." Marie says, "When I worked for the state of North Carolina out in the far east of the state, I was subjected to attempted conversion about 2 or 3 times a week. My evident damnation and hellboundness was the consistent favorite lunchtime discussion topic, as they were all worried about me and didn't want someone as good as me to spend eternity in hell. It was exhausting and isolating." Jennifer says, "I was a server at a restaurant in Wilson, North Carolina. The owner loved me so much, she was training me as a manager. I was still waitressing on the weekends. One Sunday when I worked, I was slightly upset. Another big church group gave me pamphlets to their church as my tip. I mentioned I'm atheist and this isn't going to convert me. It's just going to push me further away. The manager told me I shouldn't publicly announce I'm an atheist and then fired me over text the next day, saying I wasn't the right fit for the restaurant with no further explanation." Julie said, "I had a coworker actively try to convert me about 10 years ago. She even tried to use my grandfather's death against me. When that didn't work, she started gossiping about me and we had to go into mediation. I think if I had been any other religion, she would have been punished, but because I'm an atheist, the bosses framed it as a difference of opinion." And somebody asked me if I myself had any personal stories, and I don't, but, well, no strong stories anyway, but part of that is because in the workplace, especially in South Carolina, I decided to just keep my atheism to myself. So I can only speculate as to whether it would have affected things at work or not. I can say that, so now that I'm in Charlotte, I'm in an apartment, and last year I contacted my apartment complex asking them if we could do a clothing and canned food drive for a charity group that I work with, and they were excited about it. And we started talking about it, and somebody asked me what the charity group was, And I said, it's Atheists Helping the Homeless. And suddenly they had to change the tune and said that we couldn't do that. So that was pretty heartbreaking. Again, I can only speculate as to whether it was related to being an atheist. Maybe they simply changed their mind and it was unrelated to that, but I guess I'll never know. So I guess the takeaway from all this is that, you know, just because we're non-believers, even if you are a believer, I hope you're, even if you look down on non-belief, I hope you don't look down on non-believers, which I probably don't have to tell that to the people here listening. Seems like people at Wedgwood, obviously, if you invited me back, you're obviously accepting of non-believers. So yeah, thank you for letting me talk. I hope you found that interesting. I'm willing to take any questions if you have any. Oh, Melba, you're muted.
We'll do the questions in just a few moments. At Wedgwood, we have atheists, we have pagans. And our pagan has done a fabulous service for us one Sunday. Muslims, Buddhists, progressive Christians. I mean, we just believe that we can all come together with common beliefs. The details don't matter. We're all here to make the world a better place. So thank you so much for sharing that to us. And this is certainly a place for everybody and anybody. So we appreciate your stepping out and your willingness to share. And then we'll have Ashanti let love lead, and then we'll have our closing.
Thank you so much, Scott. And I didn't know that there was, there's all kinds of discrimination and all of it is not good. And thank you for sharing that, because I didn't know that was going on. People treating people because of their, I know there was religious beliefs and people don't like different religions, but I didn't know there was discrimination against atheists, but there's all kinds of discrimination. And the bottom line is, as the title of this song says, let love lead. And that takes care of everything. You know, it takes care of everything, whether you're a Muslim, Baptist, whatever it is that you are, girl, boy, transgender, just let love lead and treat people the way you need to be treated as human beings. So I think this is a perfect song. I hope you can hear the lyrics. I'm going to try to sing them as clearly as I can. I hope you can hear the lyrics, because they're very beautiful and just sort of like, listen to the words.
Seeds of bitter root will grow bitter fruit. A tree without its limbs, where's the righteousness? It's better to be lowly along with the oppressed. Whatever's in our hearts, our lives will reflect. Help it to be planted in you, Lord. No matter how long the road, even when it's not comfortable. If we don't know, then if we don't have love, let love lead us. Oh, let love lead us. Yeah. Let love lead us. Listen. He wasn't born a third, a mother's only son, the father that he knew. Where does he run to? Something will fill that space. The streets will indoctrinate the love of God he craves. We can't turn him away. No matter how long the road, let love lead. Even when it's uncomfortable, If we don't love it, then we don't have love. Let love lead us.
beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Yes, let love lead. Our closing. Society sends the message that in order to be somebody in the world, you need to go to the right school, get the right job, buy the right car, live in the right neighborhood, go to the right church, share the right beliefs. But nothing could be further from the truth. The entire power of the universe resides in your very being. You are made of light and stars. There's nothing you need to do, nothing you need to acquire. You're already perfect, exactly the way you are. And those are the words of Don Miguel Ruiz from the book, The 5 Levels of Attachment. Go in peace.